Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another session on polity and constitution. I hope I'm audible as well as visible. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's wait for those to join and then we'll begin our discussion. In the meantime, those who have joined, if you have any queries, concerns, please let me know. Why is this class not accessible in batch 4 or batch 5? Nikhil, I'm not really sure what this is about. Is there some issue in accessing the class, guys? The class link is working only in batch 3. Okay. Okay. So let's do a quick recap. Others will keep on joining in the meantime. Okay, so in the previous class, we had taken up for discussion the local self government. We discussed in detail the various aspects, the various elements of local self governance, including the panchayats, their constitutional provisions, municipalities, their constitutional provisions, and then the issues concerning the panchayats, the challenges that they face, right? Also, the recommendations, including some second ARC recommendations, Panchi Commission recommendations, all such things, right? And towards the end, we were supposed to begin our discussion on the judiciary, but since no time was left, we left it for the next class, that is today. So, today and over the course of this weekend, we'll be discussing judiciary and hopefully be covering the entire topic judiciary. And if time permits, we'll also discuss election commission and RPA 1950 and 51. That's something that we have planned as of now. Let's see how much ground we can cover. Okay, but then before we begin our discussion, 5 questions for the day, starting with the very first question. Please mark the answer accordingly. I'll give you a minute to solve this question. So a lot of you marked B as the answer, but the answer is C. It was first set up, the PAC was first set up in 1921 under provisions of the Government of India Act, that is the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. One is actually correct. It has currently 22 members, is correct. All from Lok Sabha is actually wrong. Its members are chosen according to the principle of proportional representation is correct, and the chairman of this committee invariably is from the opposition party is also correct. 1, 3, and 4, three statements are correct. C being the answer, right? Okay, moving on to the next question. Again, a minute. Please mark the answer. Easy question, or if you got this correct. Which of the following statements is correct regarding the bill in the state legislatures? So, of course, state's bill can be reserved for the president, but once reserved, the governor has no role to play. And which article talks about reserving bills? Any idea? Referential veto is in which article? One correct answer so far, Lindsay. It's Article 200, which talks about referential veto. Yes or no? Article 200. Anyway, that's with respect to uh, referential veto. B is the right answer. Moving on to the next question, question number 3. Please mark the answer. Read carefully and mark the answer. Yes, Senthil, it would be beneficial if you see the previous classes, but nevertheless, attend the class today. We are discussing judiciary, so it's a fresh topic, but still, there will be some points where you would feel confused. Reference to the previous classes. Okay, slight confusion. A 36-year-old person who is a citizen of India is qualified for election as member of Lok Sabha. Constitutionally, this person is qualified to be the president of India, governor, of course. But to be the vice president, you should be what? Eligible to be an MP in which house? Rajya Sabha. That's a small point. I think some of you ignored it. So 1 and 2, A is the right answer. Clear? Then moving on to the fourth question for today. Easy question. 45 seconds. Please mark the answer. Yes, Nikhil, that's true. But that is not the only condition. Age is not the only criteria, right? Name in the voter list is also a criteria. Having MLAs as proposers is also a criteria. So there are multiple criteria. Okay, great. A lot of you got this correct. What amongst the following is a special power of Rajya Sabha and not available with the Lok Sabha? Voting on demand for grants. It is a power of actually Lok Sabha. Privilege motion is a power of which house? Tell me. Which house has the power to introduce a privilege motion? Any idea? Both the houses, not just Lok Sabha. Both houses. Very good. And Introduction of a private member bill. Again, this can be introduced in both the houses. So, none of the above is the right answer. Okay. And last question for today. Please mark the answer. A lot of you got this correct. Some of you may have fallen prey to house of people. Which house should this be? Tell me. It should be Council of States, Rajya Sabha. Second schedule, salaries. Third schedule, oath. Tenth schedule, ADL. Fourth schedule is Rajya Sabha, not House of People. So, three are correctly matched. That's the right answer. That's it. We are done for the day. Now, moving on to our discussion on judiciary. Let me show you the leaderboard. Nobody got all five correct. Oh, how is this possible? Okay. So, Panyala, Ravi, Sushant, Himadri, Kambapati, Niranjan, Jayant getting four correct. M. Shravan, Shahid, Dinesh, Govind, Sundar, Hajira, Nikhil, Anuranjan, Besti, Payal, Pradeep, Satish, Apurva. All these people. I think maybe some of you joined late. Was that the reason? Hopefully. Oh, technical errors. Okay, okay. No problem. No problem whatsoever. I hope now the issue is resolved. No technical issue now. Great. So don't worry, you missed nothing except the questions. And also, since we were studying about the governors, I can give you a question now on governors. So please write a question. Pen, paper, ready? Everyone, can I dictate a question now for those attending the class? Is it possible? Okay. Please write. Discuss the role of the governor discuss the role of the governor in in the states in the states with special emphasis with special emphasis on with special emphasis on how the discretionary powers on how the discretionary powers can both enhance can both enhance and challenge can both enhance and challenge the the democratic fabric of the nation, can both enhance and challenge the democratic fabric of the nation. 150 words. Done? Please write this answer. Okay. And those who have missed, you can watch the recording, note down the time, and write the question from there. The advantage of attending the live class and not keeping the video pending for long. Okay. Now we'll move on and discuss on the very, very important element in our country, that's the judiciary. It's by far the most important topic vis-a-vis the examination, right? Because in the prelims and mains, you'll have guaranteed questions from this topic. It's going to be a guarantee that a question will come in the prelims and mains from judiciary. So we'll begin our discussion going in the descending order of hierarchy, starting with the discussion on Supreme Court, moving on to the High Courts, and then to the subordinate courts. Right? First up is the Supreme Court of India. It's also under Part 5, which is the Union, and is placed under Chapter 4. Chapter not really important. Okay. But Articles 124 to 147, because 148 is a CHG. Now, first up, some basic points. Article 124. So we'll begin our discussion by understanding how many judges, how to increase judges, how to appoint judges, how to remove judges, salary allowances, etc. And once we are done, we'll discuss the powers of the Supreme Court judges. Now, just to mention this point, in order to have a clarity here, Supreme Court was established or formed in 1950, 28th of January 1950. So prior to this, it was the federal court. So my point here is that if at any point of time in your constitution you read the term federal court, please assume it is a reference to Supreme Court. Are we clear on this? So Supreme Court was established on the 28th of January 1950. Now, number of judges. How many judges are there in the Supreme Court? So this is nothing but Article 124, Clause 1, which says that Supreme Court will have a Chief Justice, plus 7 other judges, meaning total 8 judges. And in case you want to increase the number, then Parliament by law can prescribe this number. So this particular number can be increased by Parliament by law. What is by law? Tell me. Bylaw means simple majority. So to increase the number of judges of Supreme Court, it's a simple majority that is required. More than 50% of the people present and voting. That's it. Nothing else. Now, there is a law, and what's the law? That law is called Supreme Court Number of Judges Act 1956. At any point of time when you want to increase the judges, what do? Amend the law and increase the number of judges. That's how simple and easy it is. Nothing else needs to be done. That's it. Right? Originally, we had 1 plus 7, 8. Then we increased it in 1956 when the law was made to 11. That is 10 plus 1, then 14, then 18, then 26, then 31 in 2009. And last increased in 2019 from 1 plus 30 to 1 plus 33. So, how many judges do we have currently in the Supreme Court? Currently, CJI plus 33 other Supreme Court judges. So, in total, 34 judges. Are we clear? That's the total strength, sanctioned or approved strength of the Supreme Court. Now, one very important point, just to point out here only, we have seen that to increase number of judges in Supreme Court, Parliament has to make a law. Now, how to increase judges in High Courts? What's the procedure there? So, in the High Court, no law is required. In High Courts, the number is decided by the President, meaning government can increase by an order. Executive order is required, right? Via executive order, meaning the number of judges in the Supreme Court can be increased by a legislative action, and number of judges in the High Courts are increased by executive action. Did we understand this point? Yes or no? Okay, great. Now, if you have understood this point so nicely, then let's solve this question. 30 seconds only, don't waste the time. Please mark the answer. Senthil, what happened, Senthil? Tell me. Oh, first class, right? Senthil, there'll be a lot of challenge here with respect to some technical terms. So that's something you'll have to adjust. Without watching the previous L and E, that is the executive and legislature, it may be difficult. But nevertheless, tell me if there's any problem. We'll try to sort it out without referring to the previous lectures. Why have you marked A, C, and D, guys? The power to increase the number of judges in the Supreme Court is vested in the Parliament. Parliament, by law, simple majority can increase the number of judges. Okay. Now, appointment. So, how are the judges in the courts, Supreme Court, appointed? So, this is mentioned under Article 124, Clause 2. Appointment of judges. Let's read together. Every judge of the Supreme Court shall be appointed by the President. Okay? By warrant under hand and seal. What is the meaning of warrant under hand and seal? it basically shows the status of the person. So remember your school days when you were given the progress report. In the topper's progress report, the principal used to sign himself or herself. And in other people's progress report, there was a stamp used of the principal, like, take it, useless fellows, like that, as a mark of status. Oh, toppers. Same thing here. President appoints so many people, including IAS officers. But do you think the president will sign the order of appointment for you? Does he have so much time? Of course not. Somebody else will sign the order on behalf of the president. But there are some people who, when appointed, the president personally signs the order. His seal is used. That is what is called warrant under hand and seal. Are we clear? That's it, nothing else. It is a mark of status and respect for an individual. Now, every judge of Supreme Court shall be appointed by the president after consultation with such judges of Supreme Court, and of High Courts also. So while appointing the Supreme Court judge, the president will consult judges of Supreme Court and High Courts. Which judges? Such judges as the president may deem necessary for the purpose. So while appointing the judges of the courts, which judges to consult, the president decides, right? So here, this word such is a reference to this, as the president may deem necessary on his own. And then every judge shall also hold office until he attains the age of what age? Until he attains the age of 65 years. So age of 65 is the retirement age or age of superannuation. So we call retirement as superannuation. Age of retirement or age of superannuation. Clear? That's it. So this is the appointment. Now, please answer some things. For example, the president has to consult the judges of the courts. Do you think, what's the meaning of consult? Tell me. Is consult binding? If I have to consult somebody and somebody gives their opinion, is it mandated that I follow the opinion? Tell me. Of course not. It's consultation. You go to the doctor and you consult the doctor. He says, eat the medicines if you want to improve. You can choose not to. Simple. So consultation does not mean you have to follow it. Number one. Number two, when the president is selecting or choosing some of the judges, can he choose a judge of High Court also to consult? Tell me, yes or no? Can he also? Yes, of course. So he can consult High Court judges also and Supreme Court judges also. Now, one more question. Is it mentioned anywhere that you have to consult CJI only? No, right? So I think we have a broader understanding of what is the constitutional provision. But then let's move on to see how things are happening. So normally what used to happen was that the government would ask, or the president would ask Supreme Court that please give us some names. Supreme Court used to give names, and largely those names were accepted. I mean, till 1993, around 189 appointments were made, and only on around 8 occasions, if I'm not wrong, 8 occasions where the appointment was not followed by the government, meaning the recommendation was not accepted. Out of 189, 8 cases, right? So this was like a very, very low rejection rate. Normally, it was always accepted, right? But then in 1983, a very interesting uh, case came to light. This case was the first judge's case, right? The first judge's case, because this case related to the appointment of judges, so it was known as the judge's case. But the original petitioner was SP Gupta. SP Gupta later on became the Advocate General of UP also, right? He passed away last year only, I think in January last year. So SP Gupta, very famous advocate. In this case, the matter was with respect to the appointment of High Court judges. And the question was, what the hell is this consultation? The meaning of consultation. Does consultation means concurrence? Concurrence means you have to follow, mandatory, or not? The Supreme Court said, see, consultation does not mean mandatory. Consultation does not mean concurrence. What's the meaning of concurrence? Concurrence means binding. So one thing Supreme Court was clear that, see, consultation. We are giving some names. If you want, appoint them. No problem. But Supreme Court also said that, see, consultation should be genuine. It should be meaningful. It should be purposeful. Don't say on paper that yes, I have consulted. Actually take the effort to consult judges. Number one, right? So this was the first ever time that this matter came up, where the court said that consultation may not be followed, but ideally the judges are in a very, very good position to decide on what exactly is good, what exactly is bad, which judge is very good, which judge is bad. So uh, the president should consult a group of judges. Don't just rely on consulting one judge. So, in a very mild manner, the Supreme Court suggested, see, consult a group. There should be a group of judges. And when you say a group of judges, the reference is to what? Collegium, college, college of judges, collegium. But nothing was clarified. Nothing was clarified. Which judge to consult, that the president can decide. But at least consult a few people. Don't just consult one person only. Right? Fair enough. Matter was resolved. As Supreme Court gave guidelines that, when you are consulting, you should have the understanding that the judge you are consulting should have knowledge of what is a requirement to be a judge in Supreme Court, High Court, right? What qualities are required, etc. Great, very nice. Yes, Satish, consultation means opinion only, nothing else. But in between, in 1987, what happened? There was this law commission which gave a report. Law commission in 1987 gave a recommendation, and it said that why don't you create a body called appointment commission, a judicial appointment commission, and this body can help in the recommendation of names to the president for appointment. So in between, in 1987, 121st law commission report there was a recommendation, and what is it? Create an NJAC, National Judicial Appointment Commission. So let me just clarify, they did not call it NJAC, they just called it NJC. National Judicial Commission. Right? So this commission can help in recommending names to the president. And in fact, an amendment bill was also brought, 67th Amendment Bill 1990. But because of the collapse of the VP Singh government and all, the 9th Lok Sabha got dissolved, nothing could happen. The bill also lapsed. Right? Okay. Now, come 1993. Again, this matter went to Supreme Court. This Supreme Court advocates on record case. Again, the question was asked that please clarify what exactly do you mean by appointment, by consultation. Now here suddenly Supreme Court had a change of heart. Supreme Court here says, see, consultation means binding only. So Supreme Court interpreted the Constitution to say, when you consult us, it means concurrence. Whatever opinion we give, it is binding on you. They change the meaning of the word only. And not just this. So the Constitution said that while appointing judges, the president can consult anyone, any judge of Supreme Court or High Court. But the Supreme Court said, no, not anyone, not anyone. And this consultation with 3 judges, that means CJI plus 2 other senior most Supreme Court judges. That's it. This is where we saw the introduction of collegium system. Introduction of collegium. In a very formal manner, Supreme Court said that, no, sorry, you can't consult any person you want. What is this? Anyone? No. You have to consult CJI and you have to consult 2 senior most judges of the court only. Are we clear? So the SP Gupta judgment was overruled by a 9-judge bench. 9 judges were sitting on this and deciding together, right? And I think only 2 judges opposed it. One was Justice Ahmadi, the other was MM Panchi. So this was a case where we saw that, oh, now the president has to ask only these 3 people. They will recommend names for appointment, and that's it. That is how the president gets the names and he has to approve. Yes, appointed. In 1997, again, this matter is being discussed a lot. That what about appointing Supreme Court and High Court judges? Should the process be the same? What about transferring judges from one High Court to another? What's that process like? So to avoid all these confusions, again a reference was made that Supreme Court, you please help us understand. We'll come to this point later on. What is the meaning of this? Ignore it for now. In 1998, we had one more such case, the 3rd judge's case. And it is this particular judgment which clarified what exactly is the collegium going to be like. Clear? And this is the case, the judgment of which still stands ground. Okay. Here The collegium system was finalized as it exists today or currently. Are we clear? So the system that we follow right now of collegium comes from which judge's case? Please tell me. Right, quickly. The collegium that we follow right now comes from which judge's case? The third judge's case. And what is the origin of the collegium system? Which judge's case? Second judge's case. The first judge's case just introduces the idea in a vague manner. But the fully functional collegium came into existence from the second judge's case. And the third judge's case, the collegium that was given is what we use currently also. So what is collegium for everybody? Collegium means a group of judges. Collegium. So when the president appoints a judge, he has to consult some judges, and those judges will find out the right name and will send them to the president to appoint. Now, how to consult, who to consult, what's the criteria? Let's look at this now. This is the current collegium system. Please follow extremely carefully, right? Very easy to understand, not at all complicated. The idea, point number one by one. Senior most Supreme Court judge will become the CJI. Who is the CJI? Chief Justice of India. So this is going to be automatic. Are we clear? There is no selection criteria here, no examination, nothing. Whoever is the senior most judge, senior most always refers to experience in the court, not age. So whoever joined the Supreme Court before becomes senior. Like in a government job also, age is never a criteria. The criteria is who joined the government job beforehand. That is what the seniority is based on. Clear? So one thing I think is established, that whoever is a senior most judge will become the CJI automatically. Now, how to appoint a Supreme Court judge? Supreme Court judge. Very, very simple, very, very easy. The appointment to be done by president, but on the recommendation. This group will do what? Will recommend names. Clear? Names are recommended and this person will appoint the judge. CJI plus 4 Supreme Court judges, and we know very well when we say Supreme Court judges, it is the senior most Supreme Court judges. Senior most. Are we clear? So let me show you. These are the 5 people who are the senior most judges in the Supreme Court. Again, I am telling you, forget the age. You please focus on date of appointment. DOA. This is the date of appointment. And R is the date of retirement. So look at this. The CJI, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, he was appointed to Supreme Court in 2016. Look at the next judge in 2017. So who is a senior? He is a senior. Yes or no? Please tell me, when it comes to age, who is senior between these two? When it comes to age, who is senior? Justice SK Kaul or DY Chandrachud? SK Kaul or DYC? SK Kaul, right? Because he was born in 1958 and he was born in 59. But that is of no concern to us. The matter is who got appointed to Supreme Court before? Senior. Whoever got the post earlier becomes a senior. So he's a senior CJI. Next in 2017, next in 2019. And look at this. Both Sanjeev Khanna and Justice Gawai, Justice B.R. Gawai, both of them were elevated in 2019 only. But Sanjeev Khanna got the post on 18th of January and B.R. Gawai on 24th of May. So he's a senior. Despite the fact that both, not just him, these people, all three got entry in Supreme Court in 2019 only, right? Can you observe this? But despite this, who is a senior? SK Sanjeev Khanna. And these two people both got the appointed in Supreme Court at the same time. Somebody had to take the oath beforehand. Normally, as a convention, the senior person in age takes the oath beforehand. So he has given the seniority. He has been given the seniority between these two who are appointed on the same date. Clear? So please now apply some common sense reasoning and tell me who is going to be the next Chief Justice. Who is going to be the next Chief Justice? No, 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 no. Some of you are right, others. I'll tell you where you are going wrong. Justice D.Y. Chandrachud will continue in the court for how long? Till 2024, the month of November, because he will retire one day before his date of birth. Are we clear on this? Everybody? So till 2024, till next year, November, Justice D.Y. Chandrachud will be the Chief Justice. Now, Sanjay Kishan Kaul is going to retire this year only, in December, while he will be the Chief Justice. He will retire. So how can he ever become the Chief Justice? Did you understand this point? Justice S.K. Kaul will never be the Chief Justice. Never. Because, I mean, if something happens to him, of course, but otherwise, no. Right? Clear, everybody? So when he retires, this person comes here at number 2. He is the next Chief Justice. Now look at this. Once he retires in 2025, 13th of May, then who becomes the Chief Justice? This person, because his date of retirement is in November, so he'll become the Chief Justice. That's then next in line. He retires in 2025, then he becomes the Chief Justice. Next in line. Did we understand this point? Not important for the examination, but for basic understanding, to have clarity. Everybody clear? No doubt? Great, amazing. Very good. So this is the 5-judge collegium, the 5 senior most people in the Supreme Court. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 people are the ones who are a part of this group which gives recommendations to the president to appoint judges. Are we clear on this? Right? Now, 2 points to remember. Point number 1. CJI has veto power. let's not write here. Let's write here only, because this is a provision, standard provision. CJI has a veto power everywhere. What is this veto power? Veto power means if the CJI says no to a name, that no, I am not okay, that name will not be forwarded to the president. Simple. Are we clear? If CJI says no to a name, that name does not get recommended. Even if other 4 judges agree that no, very good judge, CJI says no. 30 years back in the college exam, he did not give me pencil. No, I hate him. Simple. That's it. Veto power. Okay. And the opinion or the recommendation must be in writing. So you have to give the opinion to the president in writing of who you are appointing. Clear? Not verbal opinion. These two are standard provisions as a part of collegium system. Now, one more thing. How many people should approve your name? At least 4 judges, including CJI, must recommend the name. How many? 4. Must recommend the name. Are we clear? Everybody. This means if 2 judges are against the opinion, then that name will not be forwarded. So it has to be 4:1 or 5:0. For what recommendation? Recommending names, Adiba. What are we discussing right now? What is a collegium recommending? Collegium is recommending to the president a person's name to be appointed. Guys, are we clear on this? What is the recommendation for? After all, what are we studying? Appointment of judges. How will a judge be appointed? How was this fellow appointed? That time's collegium sent his name to the president, that we are sending Sanjeev Khanna's name, appoint him. Are we clear, everybody? All okay? Great. One more point. No fixed time frame for president to appoint. Are we clear on this? No fixed time frame. The president may appoint today only, may appoint after 100 years also. Clear? No fixed time frame. See, government cannot reject a name until and unless there is a negative intelligence bureau report against the person's name. Otherwise, government cannot reject a name. Clear? So that's a very vague kind of thing, but this is how it is. But the power ultimately lies in the hands of the government, that the government may not approve the name as well. Shilpa, then there are chances of biased. Yes, we'll discuss that. Evaluation later on. Gaurav, what is uncle judge system? I'll discuss that also. Can the president select some name and postpone other names? Yes, Dinesh, fully possible. Definitely allowed. No problem there. How they reject the name and what reason? Who rejects? The Supreme Court, Collegium? We don't know. Supreme Court says There is only one criteria. And what is that criteria? The person they are recommending the name of should be fit to be a Supreme Court judge. Yeah, that's it. That's what they have said in a judgment, that you have to be fit to be a Supreme Court judge. What's the meaning of being fit to be a Supreme Court judge? That we don't know. That we don't know. Okay. Anyway, now how to appoint High Court judges. Next topic, High Court judges. Here, you don't need all 5 people. You just need 3 people now. These 3 people only will do what? Will again recommend the names. Are we clear? Okay. So here 5 judges, here 3 judges. 1, 2, these 3 only, top 3, simple. These 3 now. Again, CJI has veto power. Here also, it has to be 2:1 or 3:0. Simple. Senthil, after retirement of DY, due to some other reason, President couldn't appoint next person. What reason? There is no reason. There is no possibility only. Because the appointment letter is issued before CGI retires. Are you clear? It does not happen afterwards. So it's automatic. What control do you have? No control. Letter comes from the CGI's office for recommendation and it is appointed. The person is appointed. That's it. End of story. There cannot be any other option. The only option is that next person dies. Then the next person becomes senior. He gets appointed. Clear? Now coming to no fixed time frame for president to appoint. This is for Supreme Court judges, right? Here the senior most Supreme Court judge becomes the CJI. That's automatic. It is automatic. And if the government is not officially appointing also, the next person will be the acting CJI. That's what you can call him, acting CJI, but he'll be the CJI. Now the third point is the transfer of judges. TFR refers to transfer. So transfer of judges from one high court to another. For that, what is required? Again, 5 judge collegium. Again 5. Here 5, here 3, here 5. Why? We don't know. Supreme Court knows. What can we say? Now, please understand this very important point. Let us assume that you have the say judge. One judge is there, Justice ABC. This judge is a judge in Patna High Court. Okay, this is a judge in Patna High Court. Now he is being transferred to say Bombay High Court. Firstly, please understand Supreme Court has said that transfer is not punishment. Okay. Now, when this judge has to be transferred, these 5 judges from Supreme Court will make all these recommendations. But you also need to consult these 2 people. Consultation, not binding. Who do we consult? If a judge is working in the Patna High Court, the Chief Justice of the High Court, Patna High Court, needs to be consulted. That, sir, we are transferring a judge from your High Court. Does he have a lot of work? You please relieve him of all the work, give all the cases to somebody else, transfer him. He is the outgoing court. O. O refers to here outgoing, meaning from where the judge is going out. And also ask the Chief Justice of the Bombay High Court that we are sending this person. Do you want this person? He says, yes, yes, I want this person. I'm in need of a person. I'm running short of staff. Please send somebody. So, incoming, where the person is coming into or which court the person is coming in. You please consult those Chief Justices also. Are we clear on this? Incoming and outgoing High Court Chief Justice. Any doubt? No concerns? I mentioned here, see, Dinesh, it's mentioned here. Consultation not binding. Look at this. Mentioned here. Kambapati, no, we will say only 5 judges, not 7. We will say 5 plus 2 because these two people's opinion is not binding. And if you are transferring Chief Justice only, then you don't have to ask anybody. Simple. Satish, incoming, outgoing. Just look at this example. When you are not finding, it's not binding, not finding. Meaning, let's take an example of this. Stick to this example only. 5 judges of the Supreme Court, they want to transfer this Justice ABC from Patna High Court to Bombay High Court. Now they will ask the Chief Justice of Patna High Court that we are transferring a judge from your High Court to Bombay High Court. Are you okay? The Chief Justice says, yes, yes, take him away. Transfer. Chief Justice says, no, 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 don't take him away. He's my favorite. This collegium says, I don't care because the consultation is not binding. Even if these high courts say, no, 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 don't take him, don't transfer, still transfer can be done. Right? Now, when you are transferring this person from this high court to the other high court, Bombay High Court, the Collegium of Supreme Court will also consult Bombay High Court, calling the Chief Justice sir, we are sending a judge to you. Are you okay? He says, yes, yes, send sir, please. Very good. Or says, no, sir, don't send him. I hate him. The Collegium says, I don't care. We are sending him only. You work with him. So this is the incoming and outgoing aspect. Are we clear now, Satish and Sendil? And as I said, if the Chief Justice is being transferred of the High Court, then you don't have to ask anybody. Clear? That's it. See, why do we have these people here to be asked? Because see, in the court, the Chief Justice allocates cases. And sometimes a judge may be given some important cases to handle. So the Supreme Court Collegium consults them to ensure that no important case is being handled by the judge, because if you transfer the judge in between, then the case again comes to a halt. So I am making this extreme statement that they will not be followed at all, right? But in reality, the Collegium understands these challenges. And if the High Court judge says, sir, don't transfer him right now, transfer after a few months, then the Collegium listens to them. It is just that they are not bound to listen to them, but they listen to them, right? Because that's how the practicality is in life. Are we clear, Sai Krishna? The point of consultation is to understand if there is any problem when we transfer judge or not. If there's no concern, transfer. But yes, ultimate opinion is of this collegium only. This is the current collegium system. I am repeating once again, transfers are not punishment. Supreme Court has said it on its own. That's it. Done. Any doubt? Now, can I just ask you a small point here? We all know very well that Supreme Court is the final interpreter of the Constitution. Yes or no? Final interpreter of the Constitution. We fully agree, without doubt. My point is very simple. Uh, how does all this interpret into all this? What is the meaning of interpret? To help others understand. If there is some difficulty in the language, Supreme Court can clarify it. But all this mentions means all this? Do you think it is interpretation? Or are they extrapolating too much? Where is this mentioned? CJ has a veto power. 5 here, 3 here, 7 here, 5 here. Where is all this mentioned? Tell me, do you think this is just interpretation? It seems like Supreme Court is creating its own articles now. It is crossed the realm of interpretation now because it is not interpretation. What about this line? High Court judges. You're not consulting only. That was mentioned in the Constitution. So, a very big issue with collegium is that it amounts to rewriting the Constitution. And it is not limited to mere interpretation. Second thing, process is highly opaque, non-transparent. What's the criteria? We don't know, right? No defined criteria. Zabir, as I mentioned this earlier only, if you are transferring a Chief Justice, then you don't have to ask anybody. Simple. Clear? Now, somebody was asking and somebody mentioned that what if there is some kind of biasness, nepotism, etc. In our country, we constantly keep on making allegations that cinema is full of nepotism, which is the most weird argument any person can give. Cinema, it's a private enterprise. It's like saying my colony's shopkeeper is nepotist. Such a nepotistic person. He's making his own son or daughter the next owner of the shop. Very bad. Come on, it's his shop. It's his choice. If a director wants his son or daughter to be the next actor, that's their choice. If the son or daughter is famous, is a good actor, the film will make money, or else it will lose money. Simple, right? But where it actually matters, nepotism, there we are silent. There we say nothing. Judiciary. See, I am not making any allegations here, but just to give you an example of how people may perceive things as improper. Uh, there was a judge called Y.V. Chandrachud. Y.V. Chandrachud appointed one judge as a Supreme Court judge. He made recommendation to appoint B.N. Kirpal as the Supreme Court judge. Okay. Now comes the real problem here. When B.N. Kirpal became the judge of Supreme Court, he at one point of time elevated a very young dynamic person to the High Court, possibly the youngest judge in the High Court. That person was D.Y. Chandrachud. Now, guys, I hope you understand that D.Y. Chandrachud is the son of Y.V. Chandrachud. Okay, are we clear? He was appointed by him to Supreme Court, and then he appointed him to Supreme Court, his son. And D.Y. Chandrachud recently made recommendation to appoint Saurabh Kirpal as a judge in Supreme Court. Saurabh Kirpal is a son of B.N. Kirpal. Now, I am not leveling any allegation here, but look at the perception that it would show in the minds of people that, oh, my father appointed you, you appointed me, I have to appoint your son will appoint my son, and this practice continues. How is it fair and justified? This is what is the problem in the judiciary. So, a lot of you don't really know because you are not lawyers. Ask any of your friends who are lawyers, they'll tell you. The courts in our country are hijacked by some lawyer families, right? The lawyer families, meaning around say 200, 250 families are there in the country, big or small. They have completely monopolized the judiciary. Whatever you may do, all these top lawyers belong to same group of very small group of people who are completely working in tandem, right? Family of lawyers, judges, etc. And outsiders find it very difficult to make an entry in the courts, right? So they are called the first generational lawyers actually, but you will find in the courts ninth generation advocates, meaning for 9 generations their families are in this law business only. So that's how it is. Anyway, so the allegation is also there of favoritism and biasness. That's also a problem. Then, now think of this. How many judges are required to make recommendation for the High Court appointment? 3 judges in the Supreme Court. These Supreme Court judges are also a part of what? A part of the Supreme Court Collegium, a part of Transfer Collegium, and they are also judges. These people are judges of the court. They have to decide on their own cases in the court. How will they find time? How will they find time to go through all the judges' names, their applications, their qualities, etc., to pick and choose some names for recommendations? That is why big problem, because of paucity, lack of time. Collegium does not have the time only, and the result is what? 30% vacancies in high courts. You'll be surprised that at the level of high courts, 30% seats are vacant. Over 300 seats are vacant in the high courts out of 1114 total strength. Then it also affects federalism. How? There is a small misconception in our mind that high courts are subordinate to Supreme Court. No. That's not the case. Actually, this is a very big misconception. It is just that we follow an integrated judicial system. Integrated, meaning if you don't like a lower court judgment, you can appeal in the high court. You don't like a high court judgment, you can appeal in the Supreme Court. It does not mean that the High Court Chief Justice has to take instruction from Supreme Court, on how to manage its own High Court. That's not possible. Are you clear? In fact, Supreme Court cannot issue a writ to High Court. Not allowed. But look at what has happened now. Now, I am a High Court judge. I want to be elevated to Supreme Court. I know very well what I have to do. I have to please this group. If they are happy with me, I'll be elevated. To hell with anything else. Now think of what can go wrong. Let us say I am a High Court judge. In front of me, there is a lawyer who is fighting a case. I know very well this lawyer is a son or daughter of a collegium judge, a judge who is in the collegium. Now I am very biased towards him. I'll say, oh sir, what amazing judgment, what statements you are giving, genius lawyer. Sir, you come and sit besides me only. I should go there. Such genius. I will constantly try to appreciate the lawyer so that maybe he'll or she will say some good things in front of his or her father, who will be very happy, and I'll be the next Supreme Court judge. Life is all set. It also impacts federalism, right? Then this classic example. I mean, this is like, imagine UPSC, you go to UPSC main examination, you are writing the answers. Once you are done, the invigilator says, guys, don't leave, sit. Now evaluate all your answers. Evaluate your own answers. Yes, do it. Be genuine. Give genuine marks. You know very well how genuine you will be. Everybody getting cent percent marks, 250 marks. Somebody saying, no, 251 out of 250. Answers were too good. That will be a problem. And we have not seen this procedure in any written constitution anywhere, that the judiciary appoints itself. So, judicial monopoly over appointments not seen in any democracy. You go to USA, you go to UK, you don't find this happening. There is always a check and balance. Nothing here. Nothing at all. This is a critique, the critical analysis, the criticism of the collegium process. Are we clear, everybody? Any doubt so far? Tell me. No doubt. Now see, just to rewind again to this point, this Law Commission report had been made back in 1987, 30-40 years back. In 2014, when the Narendra Modi government came to power, they said, let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. In 2014, a proposal was brought that this Law Commission's recommendation was very nice. What should we do? We should implement this in the country. So, the 99th Constitutional Amendment Act was passed, meaning we amended the Indian Constitution for the 99th time. And basically, we created a concept of NJAC. So, 3 articles were added, 124A, B, and C. So, creation of this body called NJAC. NJAC, National Judicial Appointments Commission. This body was created. This body would comprise of how many people? 6 people. Point number 1. This body will have Chief Justice of India as the chairperson, 2 senior-most Supreme Court judges as members, 1 law minister, executive is also there, and 2 eminent persons. Who are these eminent persons? No criteria was mentioned who will be this eminent person, but nevertheless, they had to be chosen by Prime Minister, CJI, and LOP. What is LOP? leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha. Clear? So 6 people. Now, two important conditions. Condition number 1. And before that, what is going to be the function of NJAC? What will this body do? Function of NJAC. NJAC will do the exact same functions as a collegium. Think of it. It is just like it will replace the existing collegium system. So NJAC will recommend names for persons for appointment as a Chief Justice of India, Chief Justice of High Courts, judges of the Supreme Court, judges of the High Courts, and also recommending transfer of judges of the High Courts. Clear? So everything that the collegium does, this NJAC will do. But two conditions. Number 1, no veto power for CJI. CJI will not have any veto power. I think that's okay because nothing was mentioned in the constitution also. Second thing, if two members oppose, name not to be recommended. So let us say these 6 people are sitting together and deciding on picking up some name, but 2 people are saying no, no, not this person. Then that name will not be sent to the president for appointment. Clear? This Amendment Act, as soon as it was passed, it was immediately challenged in the court, and the Supreme Court cancelled this amendment. Supreme Court said, see, one thing, what is this no veto power for CGI? As if veto power is your birthright. Second, now one point Supreme Court said was logical. Supreme Court said, see, this law minister being a part of this committee, that can be seen, perceived negatively by people. How? Because normally most cases in our country in the Supreme Court are against the central government only. And if law minister constantly interacts with the judges of the Supreme Court, it can result in a very unhealthy practice of maybe the judges getting influenced by the government. And then one more criteria they raised points, fingers towards, was this: who is eminent person? No definition of eminent person. So because of all these factors, Supreme Court said that the independence of judiciary is being challenged. We cannot compromise with that, and hence the 99th Amendment Act was struck down in the Supreme Court Advocates on Record case. It is popularly called the Fourth Judge's case. And reasons: no veto for CGI, inclusion of executive, that is a law minister, and no criteria for eminent persons. Which means what? Because of all these things, independence of judiciary is being compromised. All this compromises independence, which eventually violates the basic structure of the constitution, a concept that some things in our constitution can never be modified, can never be changed, and how can we allow this to happen? And Supreme Court struck it down. Are we clear? Okay. See, just to point this out and Supreme Court constantly, keeps on telling us, the country also. Supreme Court loves to lecture us as well on where we are going wrong as a nation, right? We have so much to learn, etc. All these things. It's right as well, right? But if I give you a lecture that please don't misbehave, etc., behave properly, then ideally it's a belief that I also follow those things in my life, right? If I tell you don't lie, I also don't lie. Let's look at the Supreme Court judges and how diverse Supreme Court is. So Supreme Court constantly makes all these statements that diversity is very important to ensure equality and fairness. There have been so far 268 Supreme Court judges. How many have been women? Tell me. Any guess? Out of 268 such judges so far, how many have been women? 11. 11 women. 4%. 4% since 1950. So let me not write this here because all data is since 1950 only. Since 1950. 4%. How many women have been Chief Justice of India so far? No one. No one. In fact, the first ever CJI is going to be B.V. Nagratna in October 2027 for a very long time of 36 days. And let me just clarify one point. Justice B.V. Nagratna is the daughter of a former Chief Justice of India. Okay. Right. So that's also the case. And she belongs to an upper caste Brahmin family. Anyway, then Supreme Court has been constantly giving us gyan that, the religious minority are suffering in this country. So, of course, Supreme Court is promoting the equality there. How many Muslim judges so far in the country? 7%. 7%. Supreme Court says that tribals are not treated with respect. Scheduled tribe judges so far in the country. Scheduled tribe. One only. One. S.K. Chima, who later on became the chairperson of the UP Human Rights Commission. How many scheduled caste judges so far? 5. 5. Till 1980, the Supreme Court had not seen a single OBC, SC, ST judge. Let me just point one more thing out. Of the 50 CJIs, because Justice D.Y. Chanchud is the 50th CJI, 17 belong to not one religion, one caste, Brahmins. One caste. This is the reality in Supreme Court. Now, of course, these are just points, no allegations. I'm sure Supreme Court is very fair while they appoint judges and they look at the skill and talent only, which they define as what? Fit to be a part of Supreme Court. Imagine tomorrow UPSC says that we have chosen 100 people, we have chosen 180 people as IAS officers. Why? No exam, no exam. We saw them and we knew IAS officer, fit to be an IAS officer. That's it. That was our criteria, and we have chosen them. How will you like it? So that's the harsh reality. And surprisingly, our left wing pseudo liberals in the country, even the courts, love to quote Ambedkar, but selectively. They will not quote Ambedkar on his views, which is critical of their behavior. So I would like to bring in front of you what Ambedkar said on this entire concept of collegium. So this is something that Ambedkar had mentioned, because in the Constituent Assembly also the same discussion was going on, whether we should give CGI the power of veto to make appointments or not. Let's read. This is what Ambedkar said in the Constituent Assembly. With regard to the question of the concurrence of Chief Justice, binding opinion of Chief Justice, it seems to me, to Ambedkar, that those who advocate that proposition, this idea, seem to rely implicitly, inherently, both on the impartiality of the Chief Justice and the soundness of his judgment. Meaning, if you are giving the Chief Justice's blanket power, veto power, then you are inherently relying on this fact that Chief Justice will be impartial only and he will always make the best judgment. I personally feel, Ambedkar feels, no doubt, that the Chief Justice is a very eminent person, of course. But after all, the Chief Justice is a man with all the feelings, all the sentiments, all the prejudices. He also can make mistakes. He also can get sentimental. He also can get biased. He also can have preconceived notions, etc., which we as common people have. And I think to allow Chief Justice practically a veto upon the appointment of judges is really to transfer the authority to the Chief Justice, which we are not prepared to give to the government or the president. So we are not willing to give the same power to government to appoint, but we are very, very willing to give this power to one person CGI or five people. I therefore think that is also a dangerous idea or proposition. Ambedkar in the Constituent Assembly had clearly negated this entire concept. And the courts which constantly quote Ambedkar selectively have very nicely chosen to ignore all this. So I'm not sure whether what they have been doing is appropriate or not, but yes, that's the point as far as collegium is concerned. Clear? Any doubt, Ganesh? Then, sir, how is it in UK and USA? See, in UK in 2011 they made this body. Sorry, in 29 2009 they made the Supreme Court, and in 2011 they formed this body called Judicial Appointment Committee, NJSC only, board from India. So they chose this committee called JAC, which makes recommendations. In USA, the president appoints the judges, and the presidential appointment is subject to approval by their Rajya Sabha, called the Senate. Gaurav, what is NIA court, CBI court? These are normal courts only, nothing unique, regular courts. It is just that those courts are called fast track courts. I'll explain this when we study pendency of cases, don't worry. Dinesh, how Supreme Court can reject executive order? Yes, it is allowed, sir. Supreme Court can judicial review. I think we have defined this word. Judicial review means what? Checking the constitutional and legal validity of any executive or legislative action. So courts can cancel all these things. That's what they are saying. We are canceling this because it violates the basic structure. Judges of Supreme Court, High Court can be corrupt. Yes, sir, they can be corrupt. They are human beings, sir. Why this question? Nikhil, hypocrite. Oh, I won't use these terms. Not capable of doing the work of dispensing. Okay, no. I cannot make all these remarks publicly, Nikhil. Shilpa, who is a check on judicial activity? Who keeps a check? The parliament, by removing them. That's something they can do. But beyond that, no. No check. That's the beauty of being a part of Supreme Court. Come on, full enjoyment. Are we clear, everyone? Okay, please write a question. Senthil, I've explained the four judges case. This is the four judges case. This judges case simply struck down this provision. That's it. Nothing more, nothing beyond this. Question time. Pen, pencil, paper. Please write. Are we ready? Always, Karan. Great. Right. The collegium system has been a topic. The collegium system has been a topic of extensive debate in the Indian judicial landscape. The collegium system has been a topic of extensive debate in the Indian judicial landscape. LANDSCAPE, landscape. Full stop. Critically analyze the collegium system in the context of critically analyze the collegium system in the context of judicial appointments and transfers in India. Critically analyze the collegium system in the context of judicial appointments and transfers in India. Are we clear on this? 150 words. Summarize your answer. 150 words. Just one point. Critically analyze. Critically. Pros and cons. Don't write a one-sided answer. Whenever the word critically is there, it is mandatory to write both pros and cons. Naveen, repeat, sir. I cannot. Repeating is a problem, guys. It's slightly difficult. Okay, the collegium system has been a topic of extensive debate in the Indian judicial system, Indian judicial landscape. Critically analyze the collegium system in the context of the judicial appointments and transfers in the country. That's the question. You can look at the recording, right? Are we clear? So you can simply start with the most basic points on how to proceed, etc., etc., when it comes to the collegium system. Start with respect to what's the concern, what's the issue, what has been the good thing about it, of course, and then what are the challenges. Shreya, those are all the same thing: analyze, discuss, etc. The only keyword to focus on is critically, nothing beyond that. It's all subject to what kind of question is being asked. Clear? Let's do one thing, guys. Let's take a break. Be back after the break, and we'll continue our discussion further on the qualification of the judges. Karan, why judges used? Oh, basically, judges This case relates to the appointment of judges. Hence, they are popularly called the judges' cases. It's not the official name. This was the official case name, but this is the popular name. The original case was SP Gupta case, but since it relates to the appointment of judges, we popularly call it the judges' case. That's it. Break, guys. Come back at 2. Break, please. Parshuram, even for High Court President needs to be asked recommendation from these three people only. Yes, yes. Parshuram, absolutely correct. Can the just a minute, guys. Okay, Sidhya, criticism, right? What is a criticism? Parshuram, we take their opinion. That's it. Kamapati, can the CGI of one state be transferred? Yes. To as a judge? No, no, no. That's not possible. Kamapati, we don't demote these people. If reforms are needed to be done, you please give me suggestions. What reforms? Making the system more accountable, right? Trying to resume the NJSC only by eliminating those shortcomings. That can be a reform. M. Shravan, we'll discuss pendency tomorrow, hopefully. Okay. Let's come back to our discussion at hand, and that discussion at hand. God of District Court judges are transferred by the High Court. Basically, the governor orders the transfer, but it is done on the recommendation of High Court. No concern of the collegium here. Collegium is only meant for the Supreme Court and High Courts. Now coming to a very important element, that is qualification. So what exactly is the qualification of our judges? So please don't tell me this. Of course, you have to be a citizen of India. What's the minimum age? No minimum age. What's the tenure? Nothing is mentioned. Okay. What is mentioned? Retirement age is mentioned. So there is no minimum age per se, but the retirement age is mentioned, 65. Now, what's the qualification? Qualification number one, you have to be at least for 5 years be a high court judge. Okay. Or number two, at least 10 years be an advocate in the high court. Now, please don't ask me this. Sir, can he be an advocate in Supreme Court? Of course. It's like saying UPSC has a criteria. Graduates can apply. Can postgraduates apply? Of course they can apply. So you have to be an advocate for 10 years in the High Court. Or criteria number 3 that we have borrowed from USA. Rather, in USA there is no qualification mentioned, but this is not a criteria that is a very fixed criteria. This criteria says anybody who is a distinguished or eminent jurist. Eminent or distinguished jurist. Who is a jurist? Tell me. What's the meaning of this word Jurist? Jurist. Any idea? Anyone? No idea. No one. Rustam jury? Arey nahi sir. Not Rustam jury. No, no, no. Jury is different. We had discussed that jury in Parliamentary privileges. Guys, calm down, calm down. Jurist has no relationship to jury. These are two different concepts. I'd explained both of them separately. Jurists are people who are experts in the field of law. Any person who is a legally trained mind, who is champion at legal theorizing, who has vast knowledge in the field of law is called a jurist. Are we clear on this? Gaurav, it's just a convention here. Convention, custom, right? Nothing else, no logic behind it. Why do politicians wear white clothes only? There is no dress code. You can wear funky dresses and go, but normally that's not the case. Okay, this is a qualification. Just one small point, since we are discussing qualification, uh, what is, or there is also one other person who has to meet the same criteria of qualification to hold that specific post. What post is that? The holder of that post or office needs to meet the same criteria. That is, you should be qualified to be a Supreme Court judge. What is that criteria? Very good, Kambapati, Himadri, Hajira, nice. Others, think. Hey, Dinesh, CJI, are you joking with me or what? Same for Attorney General, Article 76. Okay, that's it. Clear now, everyone? Shahid, how can we check that the person has knowledge in that field? You can't check that. Simple. That is why the collegium, if they find you to be an eminent person in that field, somebody who has been a law professor in some college, etc., who has been writing articles for so long, you know that he has knowledge in the field of law. That's how it is. Simple. There's no exam and all for that. Life is not all about tests. There is more to tests, right? The test of life is a real test. Anyway, now let's move on and understand about the process of removal. As somebody is asking me in the morning only, it's how to hold judges accountable, how to keep them in check. This is how we keep them in check, by removing them, by having a provision to remove the judges. So this procedure of removal, of course, one more point before you jump onto it, they can submit their resignation. It is allowed to the president. That's there. You can't force anyone to work against their will. No forced labor. Now, what's the ground? Meaning, what's the reason? So, the reason is misbehavior or incapacity. What's the meaning of this? We don't know, because it is not defined in the constitution. So, maybe any act of corruption, etc., all these things, right? Gaurav, what kind of question is this? How high court judges are appointed? What are you doing, Gaurav? Dreaming? We just saw the collegium system, right? Pay attention. Please wake up and focus in the class only. Don't do multiple things. Clearly, that's not your forte. We just discussed the entire collegium, and you're asking what is a collegium now? One more, Dinesh. Is this mentioned in the constitution? I just mentioned here, not defined. Okay. Whenever I raise my hopes, oh, finally I have a class full of intellectuals. I face disappointment immediately. Now, this ground is mentioned under Article 124, that this is the reason. Now, what is the meaning of misbehavior? It could be act of corruption, etc. Depends. And what step has to be followed? Same article, voting in the parliament. Parliament can remove the judge of Supreme Court or High Court. High Court also. Can you observe? Article is different. For High Court judges, the removal is Article 218. But the procedure is the same. Clear? Exact same procedure. Through a special majority. What is this special majority? Combination 2/3 PNV, more than 50% total membership. Do you remember this? 2/3 present and voting, more than 50% total membership, whichever is higher. This majority is used for what? Tell me. What is this majority used for? Apart from removing judges. President? Very good, Himadri. Pradeep, excellent. Amendment to the Ganesh, Dinesh. What are you doing, sir? 2/3 of total strength is used for impeachment. This is the majority used to amend the constitution. Which article is this? Tell me, article for amendment. Write anything you want. 368. Great. Anyway, one more thing is mentioned in the constitution, that see, when you are removing a judge of Supreme Court or High Court, you have to follow a procedure, manner, process. What's the manner going to be? Process. Under the same clause, different subclause. Process or manner, that will be decided by Parliament by law. Parliament by law to decide. So Parliament has made a law and has decided the manner. And what's the manner? This is the manner. Judges Inquiry Act 1968. This is a law which lists the process to be followed to remove Judge of Supreme Court and Judge of High Court. Just one more point I'll mention here only. Same ground and process used to remove which people? Tell me. The same ground and process is used to remove which other people? I'll give you two names. You give me the third one. CAG, Chief Election Commissioner. You tell me the third one because you have studied the third one. Others, what happened? Don't sleep. Ragini, Jayant, only two correct answers so far. Only two correct answers so far in the entire class. Shahid, third correct answer. Guys, come on. Only three correct answers so far. All wrong. All wrong. Siddhya, you firstly answer my question. Don't ask me questions. All wrong. State Election Commissioner. What are you doing? SEC. Siddhya, CAG means Comptroller and Auditor General. You'll be studying about this person in your governance classes. Basically, these people audit government records. Clear? So just remember this on a side note, that these three people are also removed in the exact same manner, exact same ground as the Supreme Court and High Court judges. Clear? Okay. Now let's see quickly what is the procedure to remove the judges of the courts. This is a procedure. Don't read it. Look, forget it. Look at me and hear me out first. This process can start in any house, Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Number two, in Lok Sabha, if you want to start this process, 100 MPs are required to give a notice. 100 MPs. But in the Rajya Sabha, 50 MPs. When you give this notice to the presiding officer to remove the judge, the presiding officer can reject this also. Can say, no, don't waste my time. Useless notice. Can reject it. Now, if the notice is accepted, then a committee is formed. That committee will inquire what is your problem with the judge. In the notice, you write some reason. What is the ground of misbehavior? What is incapacity? You're mentioning something that he's involved in corruption. You're giving some proof. So a committee is formed, an inquiry committee, hence the name Inquiry Act. That inquiry committee will comprise of three people: CJI or any senior Supreme Court judge, Chief Justice of any High Court, and a distinguished jurist, some eminent jurist. Mostly it's some retired Supreme Court judge. These three people, judges only, part of a committee. This committee looks into the allegation. If they find the allegation to be false, matter ends there only. But if they find the allegation to be true, wait, removal will not take place. Then the voting takes place in the parliament. Both houses separately. No concept of joint sitting. Okay. Lok Sabha has to pass the proposal separately, Raj Sabha separately. Both houses will pass it with a special majority, and then the person is removed. So many checks to remove the judge. You can't remove them so easily. 100 MPs in Lok Sabha or 50 MPs in Raj Sabha. Okay. Presiding officer may accept or reject the notice. A committee is formed, 3 members, 1 from each category. If the committee finds judge guilty, report is sent to presiding officer. Or else, what happens? Matter ends. That is, if found not guilty by the committee. Clear? Now, voting takes place in both houses. Voting. What kind of majority? 2/3 present and voting more than 50% of the total strength. Clear? Both houses separately, no joint sitting. And then the president will be signing it. President has to sign, no veto power. Must sign in the same parliamentary session. So basically, this is the only case where you can say that there is some kind of a time limit, not exact, but a vague kind of time limit is set, that the president has to sign that particular order in the same parliamentary session. Are we clear? Everybody, Judges Inquiry Act. Gaurav, in which article it is mentioned? What is mentioned? Which article? What question is this? Sir, this is a law. It is mentioned in this law, not the article. What am I teaching? What are you asking, sir? What happened? 2:30. Oh, difficult time, right? Afternoon, the sleep time. Are we clear on Judge Inquiry Act? Everybody, is there any doubt, any issue, any concern? Please tell me. No doubt. Great. See, so far, not a single judge has ever been removed. Look at the procedure only. I mean, so many checks are there that it's difficult to remove a judge. It's impossible. I mean, see, there have been various cases. For example, uh, the first ever case that came up was the case of V. Ramaswamy. Just to give you examples, not really important for the examination, but some knowledge on how this thing functions. Example V. Ramaswamy. He was a judge in the Supreme Court. So there's an allegation that when he was a judge of the Chief Justice of Punjab and Haryana High Court, he had been spending a bit too much on beautifying his official residence. Just like just like a chief minister of one state, there are allegations that he has been spending too much to beautify his own official residence. Anyway, so when he became Supreme Court judge, this matter came to light. Inquiry committee was formed. MPs had given notice. Inquiry committee found the allegation to be true. When it came to voting in the Lok Sabha, Congress did not vote only. They walked out. I am not saying this. One lawyer, Prashant Bhushan, he has made this allegation in one of his articles published in the 1990s. He said Congress has deliberately not voted against V. Ramaswamy because a few years back, V. Ramaswamy had given a judgment in favor of Rajiv Gandhi. So Congress is returning the favor by not voting for him or against him. I am not saying this. Prashant Bhushan is saying this. You go and file a case against him. Now, one more case, J.B. Padiwala. J.B. Padiwala is a very amazing judge, actually. He is currently a Supreme Court judge, very, very popular, or rather unpopular in Gujarat because of his very strict judgments to protect environment, right? So he has given some very amazing statements on environmental concerns. Now he's a Supreme Court judge. But yes, when you are too enthusiastic, you also are prone to making sometimes statements which may not go down well with people. So J.B. Padiwala was the Gujarat High Court judge, and while a matter came up in front of him on some case of corruption, in the judgment he started saying that the two real causes or the impediments of growth in the country are corruption and reservation. So reservation is a policy of the constitution. It is mentioned in Article 16, Clause 4. Come on, you are a judge. You can't make all these statements. Anyway, when he made this statement, immediately 58 MPs of Rajya Sabha became very angry. They gave a notice to the presiding officer. Come on, impeachment, remove him, removal. The VP called him, sir, what have you said? And JB Padiwala apologized publicly, took back the statement. Anyway, did not apologize, but took back the statement. Or then some cases like random cases, SK Gangale, MP High Court judge, against him there was an allegation of sexual harassment leveled by a district court judge. Inquiry committee was formed. The inquiry committee, this committee, did not find the allegation to be true. Case dismissed. Then there's a case of Nagarjun Reddy. Nagarjun Reddy was a judge in the Andhra Pradesh High Court. Against him, there's a complaint that he used to make caste-based remarks in the court only. Casteist slurs back in 2015. Again, inquiry committee did not find the allegation to be true. Or the case of Deepak Mishra, the former Chief Justice of India, against whom notice was initiated by the MPs in Rajya Sabha, and the presiding officer rejected the notice there only. End of story. But we have had an amazing case with respect to one judge called Soumitra Sen. Justice Soumitra Sen was a hilarious case. He was a High Court judge in Calcutta High Court, mid 2000s. Back in 1983, there was a case involving some money, and it was found that he had siphoned off, he had kept that money with himself, 33 lakh rupees in 1980s. This matter came to light 20 years later. Justice Soumitra Sen, of course, in the Rajya Sabha, MPs gave notice. Presiding officer accepted a notice. Committee was formed. Committee found the allegation to be true. Voting took place in Rajya Sabha. It was passed by Rajya Sabha. It went to Lok Sabha. In between, Soumitra Sen resigned. saying on ethical grounds, if Raj Sabha finds me guilty, I am resigning. Such great people. They cannot tolerate any remark on their integrity. One more such judge, Justice P.D. Dinakaran. Justice P.D. Dinakaran was a judge in Sikkim High Court. And there was a case of land grabbing against him. In Sikkim High Court, there are only 3 judges. In total, in the High Court, one judge is corrupt. Anyway, he also resigned. When a case was issued against him in the uh, parliament, when the complaint was raised, he resigned. After a couple of years, somebody filed an RTI against Soumitra to the government of India. Is Soumitra Sen and is P.D. Dinakaran, are these two people still getting pension? Government said yes, they are getting pension because they resigned. They were not removed. So Soumitra Sen resigned not because he was worried about his a black mark on his image. No, no, no. Pension bachana hai. That is how his mind was active, even in those situations that he had to save his pension. Anyway, to cut a long story short, so far not a single judge has ever been removed. And except V. Ramaswamy, all the examples I gave to you, they have all been examples of judges appointed through collegium. I'm not raising any concern here. No allegation. I'm just telling you that these are the amazing products of collegium against whom these charges have been leveled. Anyway, that is all as far as removal is concerned. Let's move on. Let's solve this question. Please mark the answer. Okay. 1 full minute to mark the answer. Done? Great. The Constitution of India defines and gives detail of what is incapacity or misbehavior. This is wrong. 2 is wrong. Remove this. Okay. The motion to impeach a judge of Supreme Court cannot be rejected by Speaker. Of course, it can be rejected. Presiding officer may accept or reject the notice. 1 is wrong. Remove this also. 3 is there in both. 3 has to be correct. Don't remove 3. It must be correct. If the motion of impeachment of a judge is taken up for voting, the law requires the motion to be backed by each house and supported by majority of total membership. Yes, of course, that's correct. And not less than 2/3 of the total members of that house present and voting. This is also correct. 4th is correct. C is the right answer. Are we clear, everyone? No, Parshuram, there is no suspension. No, there is no suspension of a judge. Only removal. Okay, that's the removal. Then salaries and oaths. I mean, please tell me the salary of Supreme Court judge and High Court judge. Where is it mentioned? Salary. Let's see. Now you saw the screen already, but anyway. Okay, fair enough. A lot of you are correct. Schedule 2 mentions the salary of the judges. What about oath of judges? Please tell me. The oath of judges, which schedule? Schedule 3 mentions the oath of the judges. Great. So salary, the reference is Article 125, Schedule 2. Oath is Article 124 only, but Clause 6, Schedule 3. Clear? Apart from this, we also know very well that their salary can't be diminished during office, which ensures that their salary is fixed. And their salary is what kind of expenditure? Charged expenditure. Meaning, no voting, only discussion. Clear? One small question I'd like to ask you. This Schedule 3 contains the oath of the president. A for yes, B for no. Schedule 3 contains oath of the president. A for yes, B for no. Oh, how did this happen? More people got the answer wrong. Guys, Schedule 3 does not contain the oath of the president. Schedule 3 basically contains oath of ministers, oath of office, oath of secrecy. Remember? The oath of the president is mentioned in Article 60 separately. One more question. The salary of ministers is mentioned under Schedule 2. A for yes, B for no. Yes, this is correct. Salary is mentioned under Schedule 2. What are you doing? Salary of the president, salary of the governor, salary of the presiding officers, deputy presiding officers, salary of Supreme Court judges, salary of High Court judges, salary of CAG. Please revise. Very, very important. Don't make silly mistakes. Now, one point I'd like to help you understand here, just if it is asked in the examination, right? Salaries and pension of Supreme Court judges is charged on CFI. Pension of High Court judges is charged on CFI. Salary of High Court judges is charged on CFS. Please don't forget this. Are we clear? What is CFS? The Consolidated Fund of the what? Please type quickly. Consolidated Fund of the state. So High Court judge's salary is paid by state. But once the person retires, the pension comes from center. Clear? No confusion? So they may ask you a trick question kind of a thing in the prelims. So make sure you are ready for that also. Now, one very important point. This is basically Article 124 only. but clause 7. So you must have seen there are so many top lawyers in the country, but they don't become the chief justice or Supreme Court judge, etc. Why? Why don't lawyers become judges? There is a criteria also that lawyers can become judges. You know why? How much does a Supreme Court judge earn? What's the salary? 2.5 lakh rupees per month. The chief justice gets an additional 35,000 rupees, meaning 2.85 lakh rupees per month. That's it. How much does a lawyer make? I'm not saying Harish Salve and Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Kapil Sibal. I'm talking about lawyers who are decent and popular lawyers. Forget the top lawyers. Forget them. Very good lawyers. They earn lakhs of rupees per day per case. 2, 3, 4 lakh rupees. Top lawyers earn 25, 30 lakh rupees per day per case. Are we clear? They may have 4, 5 cases. That's the amount of money they are making. Of course, the entire team makes. Right? That's the amount of money they're making. And the problem is, if I'm a lawyer and I become a Supreme Court judge, I retire at the age of 65. Article 124 clause 7 says that no person who has held office as a judge of Supreme Court shall plead or act in any court or before any authority within the boundary of India. Meaning, on retirement, I am not allowed to practice law in the country. So at the age of 65, if I retire, end of story for me, because now I am not allowed to practice law. The lawyers keep on fighting cases at the age of 85, 90, right? But if I become a judge, my story is over at the age of 65. I can be a member of some commission here and there. That's it, nothing else. So it comes at the huge cost of their legal profession. So this is Article 124 clause 7, which says that once you have held office as a judge of Supreme Court, no scope for you in future. End of story. Tata, bye bye, khatam. In the words of Rahul Gandhi, everything is over. That is why you will find that not many lawyers are enthusiastic on becoming a Supreme Court judge. Are we clear on this? Everyone, all okay so far? Shahid, even if they resign, what is mentioned here? No person who has held office as a judge. It does not say on retirement. If you have been a Supreme Court judge, sorry, done. End of story. So don't think that at the age of 64 years and 11 months, I resign and then I can start practicing law. No, that's not possible. Dinesh will come to High Court when we discuss High Courts. Don't worry. Now there are two concepts. One is ad hoc judges. So what happens is that this is, what is the meaning of ad hoc? Dear innocent aspirants, please tell me. What's the meaning of ad hoc? Silence. Okay, very good. Alternative or ad hoc. Very good. Ad hoc means temporary. Excellent. Correct. Temporary. So what is ad hoc judge? Temporary judge. So sometimes when the quorum in Supreme Court is not met. Now what is quorum in Supreme Court? What is quorum in Supreme Court? What is quorum in the Parliament? What is quorum in the Parliament? 10%. What is quorum in Supreme Court? Nothing is mentioned. Here quorum is not defined. Don't write 10% here. What is quorum? Quorum is the minimum number of people required for the house to function. So what is a minimum number of judges required? That's not defined anywhere, but still the assumption is that if at any point of time we have very few judges in the Supreme Court, then CJI can order High Court judges to attend the Supreme Court, help them out in cases. Okay? What's the condition? Prior permission of president is required. You have to consult the Chief Justice of the High Court. Just consult. And the judge you are calling to the Supreme Court to attend should be qualified to be appointed as Supreme Court judge, meaning he should have been a High Court judge for at least 5 years. And when you call the judge, come on, you come here, come to Delhi, help us out, so many pending cases. That judge cannot say, no, no, sir, I can't come to Supreme Court, very far from my place. Oh, I'm feeling shy. Oh, Delhi, too much of pollution, sorry. No. This High Court judge has the duty to attend, meaning can't refuse. Clear? Must come. Second concept is retired judges. Sometimes again, when there are too many pending cases in the courts, CJI can order retired judges of Supreme Court and High Courts to come and attend the court. Here also, prior permission is required. And here also, for the retired judge, they should be eligible to become a Supreme Court judge, meaning they should have at least been a judge in the High Court for 5 years. Then only will we call them. But here, these people, the retired judges, may refuse. To attend because they're retired people. You can't force them. No, come. Sorry, I'm enjoying my retirement life. Don't force me. I hate the Supreme Court. I will never come there. They can say that. The sitting current High Court judges, if they are called, they cannot say that. But the retired judges, if you try to call them back, they can say, sorry, I won't come. Tata. Bye-bye. Clear, everyone? Any doubt? Harsh, CFI means Consolidated Fund of India. Should we proceed now, guys? All okay here? No response. What do I think? Okay. Proceed. Now, Court of Records. What's the meaning of Court of Records? Record room inside the Supreme Court. Yes or no? Where all records are kept. That's called Court of Records. Yes or no? So, any court which has some storage room where records are kept, that should be called a Court of Records. What do you think? Of course not. That's not what the Court of Records means. Court of Records is mentioned under Article 129. Article 129. High Courts also. It's mentioned under Article 215. Now, what is a Court of Records? Court of Records comes from this concept that whatever judgments the court gives, become evidences now, become facts now. Verdicts have evidentiary value. Evidence. Excuse me. Verdicts have evidentiary value, meaning when the Supreme Court or High Court gives a judgment, that judgment can be used as a precedent, as an example by lower courts. If today Pavitra verdict means judgment, verdict. Don't ask me word meanings, please. It's an English word. It's not a polity word. Court verdicts, court judgments, court orders. So judgments are used as precedents by lower courts, meaning the lower courts, what they'll do, if a similar kind of order was given by High Court on a similar matter, lower court must give the same kind of order on a same kind of matter. That's the power of Court of Records. If today Supreme Court says the sun rises from the west all the lower courts will say, yes, yes, my lord, sun rises from the west. So whatever verdicts, whatever orders they give, whatever judgments they give, have evidentiary value. They can be deemed to be an evidence. They are facts now. Clear? No need to verify it. Supreme Court said it, it's correct. This is called court of records. In our country, we have two courts which are called court of records. One is the Supreme Court under Article 129. Second is High Courts, Article 215. Both these courts are called court of records. Right? Are we clear? Now, yes, Shahid, ideally, yes, lower court should read all the verdicts of Supreme Court, High Court, right? Because if you give any kind of conflicting order, which conflict with the Supreme Court or High Court order, then the order is cancelled, and then big question on your promotion also, that what the hell are you doing? Now, every court of records, COR, court of records, has some special feature. What's that special feature? The power to review one's own decisions. So both Supreme Court and the High Courts, they can give a judgment on a matter. Tomorrow, they can revisit their judgment and cancel the old judgment and give a new judgment. How nice. Supreme Court and High Courts have the power to review their own decisions. Are we clear? Lower courts cannot. If you file a case in the lower court and the judgment is you don't like the judgment, you have to go to a high court now. You can't go to the same court and say, Judge, please check your judgment once again. Not allowed. But this power is there for High Court and Supreme Court. You file a case, the judgment comes, you don't like the judgment, you can again go to the same court and say, Sir, please review once more, sir, please. That can be done. But not for the lower courts. Secondly, the power to punish for contempt. What is contempt? The idea is that contempt means, if you, we'll discuss this under Article 19 in detail, but just to give you a brief on this. Contempt means when you, number one, do not follow court's order. That's called civil contempt of court. You have knowingly, deliberately, willfully disobeyed the court's order. So you are called an contemner. Contemner. CONTMNOR. Contemner is somebody who has shown contempt. So if you don't follow court's order, that's called contempt of court. Or if you make derogatory remarks against the court, trying to make baseless and false allegations against the court, which may attack their dignity, lower their status and authority in the eyes of people, that's also called contempt of court. So if you do all these things, the courts can punish you. Which courts can punish you? The Supreme Court and High Courts can punish you. So Supreme Court and High Courts have the power to punish for contempt. Both these things are there as special features of court of records. Are we clear? Anuranjan, sir, Supreme Court can review its own judgments. Yes, sir, absolutely correct. Verdict may or may not be right always. Yes, of course. So on the basis of the judgment, if any verdict given may or may not be against natural justice, that's also true. But till the time the judgment has not been cancelled, that judgment holds correct, whether right or wrong. Are we clear? Karan, lower court can punish on contempt. No. Lower court cannot punish for contempt. Contempt of court is governed through a law called Contempt of Court Act of 1971. Guys, if there is any concern here, don't worry. We'll discuss this in detail under fundamental rights. Article 19. Join last line, same thing. Basically, if you at any point of time make any kind of baseless, random kind of remark, let's say today you say, all judges are corrupt. How can you say this? Where is the data? Facts, show me. What proof do you have? This is a remark you are making which actually is lowering the authority and status of the court. It is scandalizing the court. What will people think now? The judges are corrupt. So the court can punish you with a fine or even jail sentence of up to 6 months. That is what is called contempt of court. Are we clear, everybody? No doubt? No issue? No concern? Great. What is this doubt? Sidhya, now do you understand? Second feature. Okay. Assume that you understand. And lastly, Article 130. I think we all know this. Where does the Supreme Court sit? It's mentioned in the Constitution. Supreme Court shall sit in Delhi. But my point is, can Supreme Court sit in other places? Yes, it can, of course. But the president has to approve. So today, if the president approves, Supreme Court can say, let's go to Goa. And in December, we'll give all our judgments from Goa. If anybody wants to appeal, please come to Goa. And then we'll give the judgments. That is possible. Right? Now, just a small suggestion here. Before suggestion, a point that I want you to observe. Let's think of this as India's map, a rough sketch. This is Delhi. It has been observed, and think of it for yourself. If you are getting any judgment in Punjab High Court, you're not happy, you can go to the Supreme Court, Lucknow or Allahabad High Court, Jodhpur, Jaipur High Court. So if you are MP High Court, if you are living close by, you can very easily approach Supreme Court. But imagine coming from Ahmedabad, imagine coming from Guwahati, coming from Madras, coming from Bangalore. And we have observed that the farther you move away from Delhi, the number of appeals reduce, because it is difficult for a common man to go to Delhi and file a case. Because it is not that when you go and file a case, immediately judgment comes. Average time it can take in Supreme Court is 4 years. 4 years is the average time. So pack your bags and go to Delhi and breathe the amazingly pure air of Delhi for 4 years. It may not be easy for everybody. So the suggestion is that we should set up branches of the Supreme Court. Set up multiple branches. We can at least set up 4 branches. One in, of course, New Delhi. Then in Calcutta. Then in Bombay. And then in Chennai. So this, of course, we can't set up 100 branches, but this will at least ensure that people in every nook and corner of the country at least have the court within reasonable distance. Because distance should not be an impediment in the course of justice. Right? That should not be an impediment in the course of justice. But so far, this is just a suggestion. Supreme Court has shown no interest in having multiple branches anywhere. They feel that maybe if you have multiple branches, it may affect their status. That now only one Supreme Court, now 5 Supreme Courts. Not that important. That can be there. Anyway, that's it. We are done with all these points. Now, let's move on to the jurisdiction. Meaning, in short, the power, the area of influence of the Supreme Court. So what exactly are the various types of jurisdiction? Starting with the very first one, original jurisdiction. Original. What is the meaning of this concept, original jurisdiction? This is mentioned under Article 131. This means two things: direct and exclusive. You can always approach the Supreme Court. Say for a murder case. Can you approach the Supreme Court directly for a murder case? No, you can't. You have to go to a lower court first, then High Court, then Supreme Court. But there are certain types of cases where you can directly approach, the Supreme Court. And what is that? Example would be any kind of federal dispute, meaning center versus state problem, state versus state problem, etc. Some of you may say, sir, for fundamental right violation also. I agree. Yes. But the second condition is you can only approach Supreme Court. No other court has the power to take up such a matter. Tell me, will fundamental right, the violation of fundamental right, be an example of original jurisdiction of Supreme Court? Tell me. No, it will not. Why? Because when your fundamental rights get violated, you can also go to the High Court. Exclusive means only. No other court can adjudicate. Meaning, you cannot approach any other court. No other court can decide on the matter. Are we clear now? So, you have to directly go to Supreme Court and only Supreme Court. If the case can go to some other court also that is not called exclusive, then it does not come to be a part of original jurisdiction. Can you give me any other example of a type of case which can go only to Supreme Court? We have already seen that example before. Why this silence? Kambapati, very good here. Excellent. Others, I want to know the answer for that. Article 71. Are we clear on this? Do you remember Article 71? Article 71 is what? The disputes pertaining to the election of the president and the vice president, they can be decided only by the Supreme Court of India and no other court. Right? Interpretation of Constitution bestie can be done by the high courts also. Impeachment is not decided by courts but by the parliament. IB, what is IB? International border cases. That will be done by the high courts also. And secondly, if it's a case between two states dispute, then it comes to be a federal dispute only. Clear? So these are two examples of original jurisdiction where you can go only to the Supreme Court. Solve this question. We'll take a lunch break after this. Please mark the answer very quickly. 45 seconds. Mark the answer. Siddhya, I think now you know jurisdiction means power, area of influence. It's mentioned on the slide only. Parshuram, after review the decision, the old case will be reopened or the new decision. New decisions are applicable. That's it. From the next cases. No reopening. Great. What of you got this correct? A dispute between the government of India and one or more states. Absolutely correct. A dispute between two or more states is correct. C, 1 and 4 only is right. A dispute between the government of India and a UT, it goes to high courts. A dispute regarding the election of the either House of Parliament or state legislature, MP, MLA election, it also goes to high courts. Clear? That's it. Let's take a break. After the break, we'll come back and discuss the other provisions pertaining to the jurisdiction of the courts. Clear? Break, please. Come back at 3:45. Okay, guys? Break, please, now.